Hi there, and welcome to Ian's Engage channel. I'm Ian. In previous videos I've talked about how Shelfington was going to grow in size, shared the new track plan, showed how I constructed the baseboards, and showed where I was going to put everything in my train room. In this video I'm going to explain why all of that's changed. So what have I done? Well, basically, Shelfington is no more. What? I hear you shout. No! Haha, well, of course, that's not strictly true. The area of Shelfington has now actually grown in size, so it's not a shelf layout anymore. But before I continue, let me just say that I still intend to call my layout Shelfington. The original intent was obviously to build a shelf layout, and even when I decided to go bigger, that shelf layout still existed. It was just part of a bigger layout. However, in my new plan, instead of just residing on the original 4-foot baseboard, it is now expanded outwards onto the 3-foot baseboard. So does it make sense to still call it Shelfington? Especially as there's no longer a need to implement a complete operational layout within the confines of the original baseboard. Well, you know what? I like the name, so I think Rule 1 applies here. It's my layout, I'm building it, I can do what I want, so that's what I'm going to call it. Anyone has a problem with that? You'll just have to think of the whole layout as a very, very, very big shelf. So there. So, why have I done this? Well, if you saw the video where I talked about going bigger, this was where my track plan had evolved to. But I had a list of 5 features I'd always wanted from a bigger layout. These were Inglenook challenge sidings for operational interest, double loop for 2-directional continuous running, no stations on either loop but rather situated in sidings, a hidden section where a train can wait in a passing loop and another train can emerge to take its place, and finally a fiddle yard. I'd managed to get the first 3 into the old plan, and I thought that the last one would have to wait, but I really wanted to implement that hidden section, where I could swap trains using a hidden passing loop. No matter how I tried with Shelfington in its previous guise, I couldn't make it happen. It just wouldn't work. So, something had to change, and once I'd made the decision to kill off the original Shelfington track plan, everything seemed to fall into place. This is now revision 19 of the plan, and as you can see, while the layout is broadly similar, it's also completely different, if that makes sense. Taking a closer look at the design, there's still a place to perform an Inglenook puzzle, which will provide hours of operational interest while trains are whizzing around the double loop. Obviously, the double loops are still there, but I've added extra points to allow for more functional switching between inside and outside loops. I have lost a station, but Shelfington has grown, and Mantlethorpe has been reconfigured to be accessible from both directions on the inner loop, although neither station is situated on a main loop, which ticks another box. As Shelfington has grown, so has the goods yard and minerals collection area. There's also a new line that will initially be a goods or mineral drop-off siding, but could be extended as a through line should my future plans be implemented. Now we get on to the hidden sidings and fiddle yard. The redesign has allowed me to introduce a scenic breakboard that will run the whole length of the 6-foot baseboard and will hide a small fiddle yard. The scenic breakboard will only be a few inches high and there won't be a top or lid enclosing it, but when seated at the layout you won't see beyond it. The small fiddle yard incorporates at least 3 different ways of hiding one train and sending out a different one, or holding a train for a period of time to extend the amount of time it takes to circumnavigate the loops. This was exactly what I wanted, and I'm so pleased I've managed to get this into the plan. The redesign has also opened up a couple of other interesting possibilities. I'd always had plans to include a quarry, which will be the main feature in the centre of the layout, but with the introduction of a scenic breakboard, I can now incorporate a tunnel to the north of the quarry. I'll also require tunnel portals to go through the scenic breakboard, so maybe I'll extend those too. However, I now also have space to introduce a second scenic point of interest. The plan is to introduce a viaduct to the west of Shelfington railway station along the back wall that will span the newly formed Shelfington Reservoir. I haven't really thought much about other scenic details other than I'll need some sort of cutting to separate the quarry from the reservoir where the tracks go through. I'll also need some sort of embankment up against the scenic breakboard to disguise it. I'll probably have some undulating hills with fields outlying Mantlethorpe railway station and a road bridge over the lines to take people away from the station. I'll probably also have a farm within the hills, and at the front of the layout I quite fancy having a dock with a decent sized ship, or maybe a canal with locks and barges, or even a seafront with a beach, but I shouldn't let my imagination run away with me yet. I've also thought a bit about changing levels across the layout. I'll be putting 2 layers of XPS foam on top of the baseboards, as this will allow me to dig into the foam to get the depth I need for water features. However, I'm pretty sure I've got enough space to have small inclines and declines of about 1 inch, but I'll have to think more about that and whether I want to complicate the build further. Another interesting possibility is that the new track plan makes provision for exiting Shelfington to the east. This is where a much larger fill yard could be situated, albeit in another room, but more of that in a future video. And I mean way off in the future video. Okay, so that's about it for this update. I'd be quite interested to know what you think of my plans. Alternatively, if you've got any hints, tips, useful tools or techniques to pass on to a beginner in N-gauge modelling, or if you simply want to say hello, then please do so in the comment section. Anything and everything you've got to say will be greatly appreciated. In the meantime, thank you ever so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing your comments. Hopefully there'll be another update very soon. Bye.